The Unlimited Hydroplane production team visits San Diego. It stays at the beautiful Bahia on Mission Bay.
Great racing, Tri-Cities, Washington, and the Columbia River speeds, good competition. And then the Thunderbird moved a little farther west.
We went across the mountains into western Washington, Seattle, Washington. And, of course, the big one of the year, as it is every year, the APBA Gold Cup. And what a day it was.
Another big moment, 1985 Gold Cup, Seattle, Heat 1A, the roughest ride you've ever had, right?
Jim, I've never seen water any rougher than Seattle was, and it was something we didn't anticipate. Seattle traditionally gets tough, but not quite that bad. You know, we didn't know how bad the damage was to the 711 until we brought her back to the dock and lifted her up, and it was pretty extensive.
Steve Reynolds, the driver, he was there. He knows, and he won that Heat 1A in the Gold Cup. Don?
Chip Hanauer, going into that Gold Cup, you were trying to go for your 4th straight. I remember saying you probably are putting a lot of pressure on yourself, but you felt a little on the outside, too.
I did. When the Gold Cup was over and winning the 4th straight, more than anything, I felt a feeling of relief. And it has only been since now, weeks after the Gold Cup, that I really can appreciate and enjoy really what we accomplished.
Let's take a look at the final, the 1985 Gold Cup.
We're under 5 seconds for the start. The 711, the Budweiser, Executone, all three together at the start. On the way outside is the Miller American. Chip Hanauer trying to make some history, trying to be the first man in modern history to win 4 straight Gold Cups. But right now in lane number 1 is the 711. In lane number 2, the Budweiser. Lane 3, Executone Telephones. This is Steve Reynolds going into the entrance buoy. Heading into that south turn. He has first place. Let's see if he can hold on to it now as he goes into the back chute. Reynolds and the 711 holding on. Steve Reynolds trying to run away from the Miller American, and Chip Hanauer. He now has the larger engine in there. There's Hanauer on his outside shoulder. It's the 2 turbines, the 711 against the Miller going into the north turn. Steve Reynolds trying to break that string set by Chip Hanauer, who has already won 3 straight Gold Cups, winning last year in the Tri-Cities area. Chip Hanauer coming around the 7, is going dead in the water. Steve Reynolds' day is over in the north turn. Mechanical problems for the 711. What a heartbreak for Steve Woomer, the owner, Steve Reynolds, the driver. The Budweiser and Jim Kropfeld is also coming to rest in the back chute here in Seattle. The attrition rate going sky high suddenly here in the final. So now, Chip Hanauer, with his destiny really in his hands in first place. Executive Telephone, second place in the final for the Budweiser Gold Cup. Third place belongs to Todd Garling in the Cellular One. Chip Hanauer now going down the back chute. As you see Steve Reynolds walking along the deck of the 711 in the foreground. He is finished. He'll have to watch the rest of the race from the north end. Executone Telephone with Scotty Pierce in second place. But Hanauer, who ran the first one under 27 miles per hour, is now on his second. The 711 crew, oh, they've got to be disappointed. Nancy Saddam, the wife of the owner of the Cellular One, cheering on Todd Yarling. There's their boat, currently in third place. What a great finish that would be for that boat. Cellular One and Yarling went on to get third place. Executone Telephone second, but Miller American, Chip Hanauer got their 4th straight Gold Cup, and more importantly, moved out on top of the national points race. Time for another memorable moment with Chip Hanauer.
I think the most memorable thing for me about 1985 is coming to Washington down on points and coming out of it with a 153-mile-an-hour lap, my 4th straight Gold Cup and 2 wins.
I'm Don Poyer along with Jim Hendrick. We're here in San Diego, site of the last race of 1985. After the Seattle Gold Cup, it was time to hit the road again.
Yeah, we went down to cowboy country because that's the first time the state of Oklahoma has ever seen a Thunderboat, and we had a good time. This guy right here, Andy Coker, locked up in a pretty good battle with, of course, Jim Kropfeld and Budweiser. That had to be exciting.
Excellent. We noticed they were running without the rear wing. We decided to dial a little more into it, and we went for it. That's what we needed to get in the final, and we were trying with everything we had.
And let's take a look at that action.
Boy, what a strange sight, the Budweiser with that tail. There's the Jackie Cooper Cellular One with Todd Yarling out of Madison, Indiana. It looks like it'll be a good start, all 4 boats running. But moving up tension now for the start. You heard the gun, and here they come down into the south turn. American Speedy printing in lane number 1 with Andy Coker. The The 37-year-old holding on to that lane and trying to fend off the Budweiser as they'll now go down the back chute. American Speedy Printing in first place. Looks like the Budweiser in lane number 2 and second with Jim Cropfield out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Great acceleration by American Speedy Printing. Keep in mind, yes, the Budweiser is not at full speed. That boat about 500 pounds heavy anyway on the front sponsons, and now without the wing to help. Got to be a tough time for Cropfield, but here's Andy Coker holding on to first place. From the north turn, American Speedy Printing swinging a little wide, trying to make the Budweiser go even wider as they come down the main straightaway for the first time, completing lap number 1. The Budweiser again without that wing. The enclosed cockpit for Jim Cropfield in second place in the Bud. First place, American Speedy, Andy Coker. Speed for American Speedy, 114.2 miles per hour. And the Jackie Cooper Cellular 1 in third place. Andy Coker is running away from the field. What a job of driving. I'm sure Andy wants to improve after being a buoy back in the earlier heat. Coker in first place for American Speedy Printing. Down in that rough water in the south turn where the wind goes into the shore and really makes the water very, very rough. But American Speedy, the only conventional boat remaining. This used to be a world championship boat back in the early 70s. Battle for third and fourth. The Coors Silver Bullet on the right of your screen in fourth place. Third place, Jackie Cooper, Cellular 1. And back to first place, Andy Coker trying to run away from the other three boats and possibly pick up 400 points. Despite the great battle by Andy Coker and American Speedy Printing, the Budweiser with Jim Cropfield went on to get the victory. Later in the day, another man was driving incredibly fast. Back again with Steve Reynolds of the 7-Eleven. When I think of Oklahoma City, I remember you said, gosh, it's really choppy early in the day, then it smoothed out, and you ran an average speed in one heat of 132 miles per hour.
Well, that's kind of uncharacteristic for me, but the boat performed so well, Don, and, you know, we ran against the Miller, and it was we'd really had him one-on-one when both of us were running great. It was a real satisfying feeling to go around there at an average of 132. I mean, I was smiling the whole way. It was a great feeling.
Then came the final of the day. The 7-Eleven trying to prevent the Miller American from winning its fourth consecutive race. And here it came. There's the gun, and here we go with the final in Oklahoma. The Miller American first into the turn, Chip Hanauer. On the inside, however, is the Budweiser, as you see the Miller here with a slight lead. Chip Hanauer going around this first turn. There's the Budweiser on the right of the screen. Look at the acceleration on the part of the Miller American. What happened to the 7-Eleven? A bad start for Steve Reynolds. I'm sure he would like to have it over again. The Budweiser in second place. Miller American first. Chip Hanauer going after victory number 4 in a row. 5 out of the last 6 races in 1985. Coming around the outside now. Steve Reynolds moving into second place in the 7-Eleven, passing the Bud. Todd Yarling and the Jackie Cooper. Speed for the Miller American, lap number 1, 134.9 miles per hour. The Bud on the right. And there's the Miller American with that Lycoming turbine engine. The Miller American. Totally oblivious to the choppy water there in the north turn as he comes down the main straightaway. Chip Hanauer's speed, again, 134 miles per hour. And remember, he's driving with that bad rudder. The 7-Eleven, look out, the turbine engine has exploded. Steve Reynolds appears to be all right, but the boat is going dead in the water. The 7-Eleven blowing out the hot section, it appears, on this 7-Eleven turbine engine. You see some flame in there. Steve waving that he is all right. But a lot of smoke coming out of that engine chamber. The race was stopped after that explosion, but it was later ruled that the Miller American was credited with the victory. Chip Hanauer's 4th straight and the first victory ever in the state of Oklahoma. Despite the victory by Hanauer and company, the World Championship was still not sealed. The Executone Telephone, going into the last race of the year in San Diego, still had a shot at winning the title. And while we have a moment, we want to thank our partners in racing in 1985, the Mercury Champ Boat Series, which virtually took us all over the world, to Europe, to the continent of Africa, and many, many race sites throughout the United States. These boats that travel up to 140 miles per hour on the straightaway put on a fabulous show in 1985, and we thank them for their participation in joining us in our broadcasts this season.
The fondest memory I have of the '85 season is having Art and Dorothy Alberto feed us lunch every day at noon out here at the race course.
Go back to our look at 1985 and unlimited hydroplane racing. And Don, our last race of the year was in San Diego, California.
It was so enjoyable down in Oklahoma City, and then what a great place to end it all, right here in San Diego. Right now, a chance to talk with Jerry Hopp, driver of the Oboy Oberto, which has been a picture of consistency, really, in 1985, Jerry.
Yes, well, the last 2 years, since we've owned this boat, we've completed 34 of the 36 heats that we're in, and the boat is running 3 miles an hour faster this year than it did last year, and we're just improving a little step at a time. We have 2 really fine young men on the crew, and our crew chief, Al Thorson, the veteran.
Well, good luck to you in 1986.
Thank you.
Then came the race for the World Championship, and it didn't take very long for the Miller American to take it all. After Heat 1A, the Miller American, with its victory, had an insurmountable lead over the rest of the field, and they took the title. We're here with the national champion after Heat 1A in San Diego, Chip Hanauer. And by the way, that is the first time in unlimited history that a turbine-powered boat has won a national title. Chip, congrats.
Thank you. We're real proud. With whatever happens now, we've got the championship sewed up, and that's what we wanted to do, is come, run conservatively, get the championship sewed up, and then we can go for broke in the final.
Now have fun the rest of the day.
Yeah, this is going to be the first time I think I've been able to really enjoy a race. No matter what happens now, it's been a good year.
The Miller won the World Championship with the Budweiser. The boat with the big golden A on its tail had the final say of the year, winning in San Diego. And this is how the points will go into the record book for 1985. The Miller American getting the title, Executone fighting very hard all year, leading much of the year in second place. Then the Budweiser, the 711 Oboy Oberto, American Speedy Printing, and the Miss Pride Air, Todd Yarling, the driver. Other boats in 1985, the Squire Shot Britannia, 2,000 points in just 2 races. The Coors Light Silver Bullet, Kenny Toyota Volvo, and Domino's Pizza.
Well, my real fast best memory, of course, had to be our win in Syracuse, but almost tied to that was Steve Woomer in the 711 winning in Madison, Indiana. That really turned me on.
There's so many people that let me do this that I'm really undeserving, and I just feel really privileged.
The season is over, and we look to the future. What do some of the principals in unlimited hydroplane racing plan for 1986?
Don, as you know, the turbines are running away with the sport, it seems like. We want to improve. We started out with a 5-year program to win a race in 5 years, and we're still aiming at that. Next year, we'll probably go turbocharged, pick up another 6 to 8 mile an hour, and impress the sponsor well enough that maybe we can get in the turbine fight along about 87 or so.
Well, of course, in 1986, we have to go to the 2,600 horse motors, which is going to cost us about 1,100 horsepower over what we have this year. I anticipate for the Miller American, we're going to see a brand new race boat in 1986, and we'll make some aerodynamic and hydrodynamic adjustments, probably some more development in our propeller area, and try to give Chip Hanauer a little more competitive ride.
One man looking for bigger and better things in 86 is Bernie Little, and how are you going to improve, Bern?
Well, Jim, we sure did a lot of experimenting in '85, and we found out what we wanted to know. We've accomplished the safety we wanted for our driver. We dedicated that for safety. Now in '86, we're going for the checker flag. As you know, we got a new turbine boat that's running fantastic. We've done a lot of experimenting with the Griffin this year. We're ready to go, and we just really hope we might have 2 boats out there.
So that's it for 1985, an incredible year. For the first time in history, the national champion, the Miller American, a turbine-powered boat. What a year, Jim.
It just whets my appetite, Don, for 1986. More race sites, more power changes. Don't know what to expect, but we're going to be there.
Absolutely. 1986 just around the corner. For Jim Hendrick and Don Poyer, so long.